James Reedy was a Canadian poet and scholar with a love for English literature and a keen fascination for Canadian history and lore. Reedy earned his master's degree of arts at the University of Toronto in 1949. He was then awarded a Governor General Award for his first book of poetry shortly after. Reedy then moved to Manitoba to teach at the University of Manitoba for 7 years. Then he moved back to Ontario to receive another Governor General Award for his second book of poetry, as well as teach at the University of Western Ontario. In his time as a professor, Reedy tried his hand at playwriting, with his first debut being Killdeer. Reedy often, unlike other playwrights, excluded political views and his personal bias, and instead tried to demonstrate both sides of the story. Reedy tackled this demonstration with his tackled the expansion legends and history of the family nicknamed the Black Donnellys due to their cursed hearts and wicked souls.
The Donnellys were a family of Irish immigrants who had immigrated to Canada in 1848 and were illegally squatting on land that had been sold to one James Farrell in 1857 by an absentee landlord. James Farrell took James Donnelly to court, and the ruling was one that neither man were happy with, and James Donnelly eventually killed Farrell in a drunken brawl with a handspike through the head and served 7 years in prison. When he returned, James had found that his sons had grown up and started a successful stagecoach business, but that the town still actively disliked them. While he had been in prison, James' wife, Joanna, taught the boys to be tough and defend for themselves, but also how to survive. And when the town struck them or attacked the family struck back with equal force. Eventually, the conflict reached a boiling point between the two groups, and the townsfolk snuck up to the Donnelly homestead one night and brutally massacred all of the family members in the town and set the house on fire. The only survivor and witness to the crime was a young boy named Johnny, who had helped on the farm and was staying in the house and fled as it burned. In this scene, Rainey shows the Donnellys as the town viewed them, as merciless monsters who cared only about their own personal gains.
We're turning out to pass them. He's going faster. Watch yourself, Brooks! Your front wheel! He's fallen off his horse. His horses have run away. He's fallen down. His wheel came off. At one end of our journey, we'll stop for a while. Watch your steps, sir. Take my hand, ma'am. At the City Hotel. No, the dead house for this one. For God's sakes, Will, he's dying. Don't try to talk, man. We're gonna get you into the stagecoach and get you to see a physician. He wants to talk to you, Will.
I got the other ones to come over just when life comes over to the edge place where you can see forever and ever. You're neither alive nor are you dead. I said to him, Will Donnelly, you've done this to me, and my wife and children will curse you. And I'll tell you how your brother Mike's gonna die. Fair play, neighbor. They'll never finish scrubbing up his blood. My God, I know. They'll never finish scrubbing up his blood.
What did he say to you, Will? Nothing. Nothing that matters, Mike. Look at them looking at us. They think we killed him. Yes, Mike. Now how did we kill him? He tightened his wheel back at Lucan, but still we managed. Maybe at the Swartz's Hotel, or the Montgomery House on 8th Concession.
I don't want to drive the stage anymore. Why?
Odd how there's always something happening when we're around. Why is that? Get your head up, my brother! My brother, what difference does it make whether we killed him or Fortune did? We might just as well have, for they blame us anyhow. Get your head up, and we'll turn and face them.
The boy. Did you make him do it?
Oh, yes, Mike. And I also had our father train the horses so well that when Brooks's passenger, who was riding beside him, fell directly in front of us, you were able to stop those horses on a penny, or he'd be cut into pieces instead of standing over there gawping at the Donnelly brothers, whose same father failed to train one of his sons how to hold his head up when all the world thinks he should crawl. Get on.
This is McIsaac or Miss Murray. Please call the main office. McIsaac or Murray. Please call the main office.
Ned and Tom Ryan were a father and son who had a very dysfunctional relationship, as Ned Ryan is a very abusive and disruptive man with a drinking problem. Ned eventually kicks Tom out of the house, and he finds himself alone and homeless in the middle of winter, and is shown little remorse from other families in Lucan. It is only Mrs. Donnelly who graciously takes him in and offers him a place to stay with love and support. James Ringley purposely depict this gentler, kinder side to the otherwise black Donnellys, who were painted as disruptful and vicious in modern literature.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, my home life wasn't quite like that. But since I'm said to be one of the reasons for the Donnelly tragedy, you don't understand me unless you understand what waiting for my pa was like. Tom Ryan's my name. This is my pa. And what are we doing? Why, we're all waiting one cold winter morning for pa to get his rump off the chest, containing bread, cheese, tea, and other necessities of life he won't let us have.
They might cook it and poison me.
It's cold out, but there's no fire in the stove because...
You're ruining me with all this wasting of my substance. Stop the sawing. Tom, stop sawing that rail. I'll take this axe to you.
It's bad enough that we're starving, but we must freeze to death as well.
Clear out of here. Stop the sawing.
Oh, I admit I was pert. I should stop sawing that rail, but I could not sit there and watch my sisters and mother keep shivering for much longer.
Get out of the house, you bastard brat! Back talking to your pa.
Don't hit me, Pa. I'll leave and I'll never come back. And so I went out onto that cold road and searched in the snow for somebody to take me in. Who will take in the barefoot Ryan boy?
First the Donnellys will. Climb up on that stove there, Tom Ryan, and stop your shivering till I get these dry feet on you. Here's a pair of Tom's old pants for your put on. Those you got on are drenched. What devil has your father gotten into that he drives you out of the house barefoot? Or was there a reason, Tom?
I was only sawing a rail, Mrs. Donnelly, to get a fire on so it would be warm.
Get the house stove down and hide in that wood box. As your father, I can see looking through our gate from the lid of my tea kettle. Can you not keep the pantry away from him while he's asleep?
He sleeps with a tie around his leg.
Well, there are 4 of you and 1 of him. Give him a good, he's no giant. Give him a good cut one day and get that keep some fine day.
But he's always got the axe.
Good day to you, Ned Ryan.
Good morning, Mrs. Donnelly. You seen my madcap, scapegrace, harem-scarum son Tom about?
No, madcap, scapegrace, harem-scarum son of yours is running here, Ned Ryan.
I just heard your stove say something about an axe.
My stove talks a lot to itself, Ned Ryan. What, the kettle getting up steam and the wood crackling inside and the wind in the chimney? Can you not see that my stove has a name? She's called Princess, and she just saw that axe you were holding in your hand. And I'd have said something myself about the strangest of a father with an axe in his hand.
What? Ugh.
Pretty soon he'd come back and promise he would be decent to us, but it would never last. And as I got older, I helped with the Donnelly boys with their stagecoach. But if I couldn't, I stayed home and caused trouble. Like one time, I lit the barn on fire with him, with Pa in it. He barely got out in time and thought it was lightning. And another time, I pissed his whiskey after drinking half of it. Oh, he was mad at me for months.
After this scene, things only seemed to go wrong in Lincoln. The townspeople began to complain of stolen cattle, barns and stables being burned down, and other such mischief. Obviously, all fingers were pointed at the Donnelly boys. Meanwhile, for their alleged crimes, several of the Donnelly boys and some of their friends spent quite some years in prison. One such being William Donnelly, who was arrested on his wedding day. In this scene, William Donnelly is called to court to provide a testimony in response to many of the accusations laid down against his family. The man he is testifying against is James Carroll, who was a young man who moved to Lucan, where he grew to utterly despise the Donnellys. And when he became constable, he vowed to rid the community of all of them. James Rainey takes a neutral stance on the Donnellys here, highlighting both their misdeeds and their misfortunes, allowing and perhaps even encouraging the audience to come to their own conclusions and form their own opinions.
Yes. What this man was asking me to do is what my mother made me promise to do on her deathbed, to kill the Donnellys. At first, no one had the courage, no one except my poor dead mother, to say that. At first it was just drive them out of the township. They were all out of prison, more or less, but still all on top of us, so I was made constable in Lucan. My aim was to find one victim of the Donnellys brave enough to stick to his story and fight it out in the courts, going after them again and again until those Donnellys were behind bars, out of the township, or out.
I've been robbed! Tom Donnelly robbed me of, he and Jim Feeney robbed me of $85!
When did this robbery take place, Mr. Ryan?
Wednesday night, whatever night that was, about a year ago.
Mr. Ryan, what did you have to drink that night at Walker's Hotel?
Well, I don't get drunk often, but I treated Tom and Jim to some whiskey, and I myself had some fine ginger wine and sherry wine.
Mr. Ryan, is it not true that you had come to town earlier that day for a spree, and you had previously been at the following hotels: the Royal, the Western, the Levitt's, the Queen's, Fitzhenry's?
Never at Levitt's, never darkened his door. Still haven't got to Fitzhenry's, still haven't got there.
And is it true that in the last several days you have entered my father's and my own house several times in search of your son who has run away from you?
My son! My son! Waiting for his pa to come home with some food for the table, and the Donnellys have stolen away all his money away from him. And I sit at home waiting for my son, and he does not come to his pa. And you want to know why? Because the Donnellys have stolen him away. Just like the fairies used to steal little children when you were watching.
Mr. Ryan, isn't it true that although you say my brother attacked you when you fell down, the inmates of the house who took you in could not find any such marks on your neck or throat? I dismiss this case, Ned Ryan. I think one of the constables summed it up quite nicely when he said you were so drunk that night that you couldn't tell your mouth from your arsehole.
Your Honor, as a friend of Ned Ryan's here, may I say, I'm not satisfied with the way his case is being handled, and we will be bringing it up before another magistrate.
Your Honor, in view of Mr. Carroll's statements, I would like the fact that the charges against my brother, Thomas Donnelly, have been dismissed. I would like a certificate made out to that effect.
I could write you out a certificate the way justice is being administered in this village thus far, so that his family and his ruffian friends can further bully a township of 3,000 inhabitants. To you Donnellys say you're being prosecuted. Well, as the horses and the cattle in the stables and the barns, and the women and men like Ned Ryan's here, who's lost their boy to you, who's being prosecuted. Is there anybody in this room who will stand up before these mad Donnelly dogs? Look at his foot, who some of you think is so wonderful. And I hear one or two of you thinking of renting my father's farm from my stepmother. And some of you still stopping at the Donnellys' well for a drink of water. There's quite a few of you still doing that. If I hear of any such, or any man or woman offering Mrs. Donnelly Ryan the card on the way to Mass, or...
Now, is that you, Jim Carroll, sitting on that horse of yours under that tree, talking to yourself about us? Give me that whip of yours and come into the light so we can get a better look at you. Yes, you won. You smeared our name for all time so that when children are naughty, their mothers will say, "Be quiet!" Or the black Donnellys will get you. But isn't that what most of you in this room think of us to believe us to be? Because of him, my mother was turned into a witch who rode around burning down barns and sheds. Because of him! Why'd you do it, Jim? Was it the way the Donnellys dressed? Or the way we looked right through you? Or the way my mother always looked down at you? So you clubbed her to kneel at your feet. But you forget that our eyes don't kneel at your feet. Our eyes don't kneel, and her eyes will never look down, will continue to look down and through you until this eves and beyond, down and through the clown with blood on his sleeves that they call James Carroll.
Yes, it's true. I couldn't club down their eyes. After it was over, I had to leave Biddulph. I never went back. People here, they used me like a piece of dirty paper to wipe the Donnellys off their backside. They died out west, alone. Grave whereabouts? Unknown. Hate William Donnelly.
The way James Reaney constructed the play was to show all sides of the historically famous story, where he showed the Donnellys as evil, good, and neutral parties. This particular method allowed the audience to make their own decisions about which party they supported without all stigma or bias being solely one-sided. However, at the initial release of the play, much controversy and outrage was sparked in light of people having been told one version of the story and having the family continuously portrayed as inherently wicked.